So, I'm depressed. This is what's happening to me. And I'm still recovering from a massive burnout that lasted for God knows how long and culminated with this shitty thing called depression. Today, I want to talk about how I got here and the red flags that now I know were red flags, but I didn't back then. First, I want to stress out that this can happen to anyone. Anyone. Poor, rich, different races, different personalities. No one is safe from this. It can happen to anyone. And thank God the awareness about mental health is increasing, because this shit is so freaking real and it has deep effects on your life quality and sometimes even on your capacity to function. If you still have doubts about these conditions, you should know that the World Health Organization included them, burnout and depression, on their lists of syndromes and mental disorders. You'll have links to that information on the description box. Now let's talk about how I got here. I can't tell this story without talking about anxiety, also a mental disorder according to the WHO. I was always an anxious child. From a young age, I realized that time passed very quickly and that I never had the time to do all the things that I wanted to do. I was always building stuff, creating stuff, and even with my friends and family, I would always feel that the moments with them were short. But back then, I did not know I was an anxious person. I remember clearly this feeling in my stomach and overall feeling that I can't quite describe, but now I know it's anxiety, but back then I just call it the feeling of dying. I think I told this to my mom a couple of times. She didn't know what to do with this information. How could she? So as I grew up and being a gay kid, I always felt the need to be economically independent as fast as possible, because I thought that my parents would kick me out when they found out I was gay. Now I know this was a very stupid thought to have. How could I ever think those things about my parents? But I didn't know better. All I knew was that being gay was not fully accepted in society and that kids had a rough time coming out to their families and even friends. So I constructed in my head this idea of success, and to me was having financial independence quickly. So I was always working, both in my day job and on other projects. I always wanted to be doing things for the sake of not losing a moment, because if you remember what I told before, from my perspective, time passed very quickly and I didn't want to waste any moments. And this, of course, had an impact on my relationships, with my family, with my then girlfriend, now wife, with my friends. I was always busy trying to hit my idea of success. I was a workaholic. It was like an addiction. It was like a drug, and I needed to get my daily dose daily, every single day. I worked long hours on the weekends. I slept 3 to 4, 5 hours max per day. And what I'm about to tell you, it's kind of stupid, but I knew that this behavior was not healthy and that I eventually would have a burnout or something like that. But I thought by the time that happened, I would already be in my 40s or 50s and financially secure. I know, the most stupid way of thinking, but I did not know better. What were the first signs of burnout? Well, my therapist never called it burnout, but he used other adjectives to define the state I was in. So, how did this start? Well, I work in social media, and sometimes I say that social networks don't sleep, don't close, don't take vacation. It's not like the stores. They have a time for opening and for closing, so the staff can go home and have a life disconnected from work. A balance, if you will. Working in social media, most of the times you don't have that. You don't disconnect. You're always on, and if you're a workaholic like I was and sometimes still am, you want to be on top of things. The latest news, the latest updates on the platforms, trends, everything. I had serious FOMO, fear of missing out. I still have. It's a work in progress. And this was before the pandemic. I even remember going on vacation and coming back to work and still feeling tired. I even expressed it to my manager back then, and this continued and got worse. I got deeper into my work, although I had the opportunity to build a team of young and talented social media managers, but to me, there was always something more to do, something to improve, ideas to have and make happen. It was me. I couldn't stop myself. And I also want to add this note. Some people might try to take advantage of the fact that you are a workaholic. They know you don't mind working the extra hours, doing a little bit more of this and that. You'll never complain because that is your nature. I don't know if these people do it intentionally, but please, if you know someone like me, please don't take advantage of them. Try to help, try to make them see that they need to disconnect and rest. A couple of months before the pandemic, my anxiety started to escalate. I was always on the verge of a panic attack, and I needed to take action as always. So I started to see a therapist. Then the pandemic hit, and everything got 10 times worse. My anxiety got worse. I even started to have physical manifestations of the anxiety. I had back pain racing hard, bright lights, even the sun shining would cause me dizziness. I couldn't sleep well. And from this I got IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. It's a condition related to stress that causes pain, gas, bloating, and other digestive issues. And the worst thing is that it does not appear on any medical exam, so you freak out because you don't know what's wrong with you. Now I've got everything kind of controlled, but back then it was really scary. My health got worse, also because I was working even more hours than before. We were all scared we were losing our jobs, and the company needed us to step up because we didn't know what was going to happen. So I worked till I physically couldn't anymore. I even accumulated vacation days because I was working so much. So in the summer of 2020, I decided to do a social media detox. I know it's such a buzzword, everybody does a social media detox these days. Trends. I uninstalled all the social media apps from my phone. I was disconnected from social media for 20 days, and still this was not enough. When I got back to work, which I didn't want to, I didn't want to go anywhere near a computer, and that was a red flag to me because I was always ready to come back and I was happy and refreshed. I loved my job, but that time was different. I felt different. I was still very tired. Every time I opened up the computer or the laptop, I wanted to cry. Every time I got a message or an email notification sound from work, I got anxious. So these were the signs that I was completely exhausted. I tried my best to heal. I got help from my doctor and my therapist, but after almost a year feeling that way, I quit my job. I decided to go freelance, and because I already had a couple of clients, but I thought, well, maybe I should take a proper vacation and social media detox first. Well, that didn't happen. I started working right away. I was saying yes to every new client, project, speaking gig, and podcast interview. Everything was the same. And of course, I still had my personal life and family life going on, and all those ingredients put together led me into this new thing called depression. This one day I was in therapy and I was so irritated about a topic we were discussing, and my conversation was going around in circles, and my therapist stopped me. He said, stop. He said that because I had already described to him that I was having trouble getting out of bed in the morning. I was tired, I was irritable, I was eating compulsively, not taking care of myself, and even my personal hygiene. I wouldn't shower for days. I would eat Ben and Jerry's every single day. I wasn't doing any type of exercise. I stopped meditating, and then he told me I was in a depressive state. I thought to myself, no, I'm not. I'm not sad. I even told him that. I'm not sad, I'm not depressed. Well, it turns out that sadness is not the only symptom of depression. I had everything else except for the sadness. I got sad, but after I realized the state I was in, I got really sad. And back then there were some family issues going on that I was dealing with. Sometimes I got so desperate. I thought I didn't have any plan B for myself. Things were not going according to my expectations, and I had no backup plan. This is hard to say, especially because I know my family will be seeing this video, but I even contemplated suicide. It was in my head, looping. I even planned it. I'm sorry. I'm very thankful for my doctor and my therapist. I started treatment with antidepressants as soon as possible, and I was instructed by my therapist to have him on speed dial if any suicidal thoughts came to my head. And he encouraged me to talk to my closest friends about this so I would have more support. And here I am today, telling you this very personal story about how I came to be depressed. I'm still on antidepressants. I have no problem admitting that. I used to be that person that hated drugs, but I had to accept help, and the truth is, it is helping. I want to end this video saying that anxiety, burnout, depression are such common things, and the truth is that they will always existed. People just didn't know how to deal with them. If a person acted out on how they felt, they were called crazy. Thank God that the stigma is going away because of all the awareness regarding mental health. It's as important as, or even more important than your physical health, because your head can actually trigger physical feelings and even cause physical disorders and diseases. So for your sake, if any of these symptoms or feelings I talked about in this video are familiar to you, please find help. Find a therapist, talk to your doctor, talk to people you know have experienced something similar and are getting treated. Just find help. I hope this video has done a little bit of that. Even if it's just for one person, I really hope so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.